Welcome. I'm Gloria Chen-Hu. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of San Jose, Santa Clara. And the League is a trusted membership organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We do not endorse or oppose any candidates. However, we are a political organization, and that means that we do participate in issues in advocacy and voter education, particularly around issues that we believe strongly about. The advocacy arm of the League may take positions on issues such as a rise in ballot measures, but this forum is presented by the educational arm of the League, which does not take positions or advocate for them. Our voter services is purely educational, and we do candidate forums. We do pros and cons, providing both sides on ballot measures, and we also do significant amount of voter registration. I'd like to remind everyone that the candidates have all agreed to participate under guidelines set for this forum. Each will have an equal amount of time to speak. When the time is up, they may finish the sentence, but the moderator, and that would be me, has the opportunity to enforce time limits. We've given them a time limit of 1 minute for answering questions. We are asking candidates not to interrupt other candidates and to refrain from any personal attacks or charges. We believe that that is not the way a political campaign should be run. They should be running on the merits of their own candidacy and not by personal attacks. Questions that we'll be asking today were not given to the candidates before the forum. Many of you sent them into our, as you registered, so we'll be using those questions, but they have not been revealed in advance. No one can use this recorded form or any portions of it for political advertising or any purposes without written permission. The entire candidates form will be available and online with the League of Women Voters. So I'd like to just share with you that we have 4 of the 5 candidates who are running for District 7, Mr. Diego Barragan, Lisana Dominguez, Stephen Eckstone, Clay Hale. Unfortunately, we have not heard back from Mr. Anthony Macias, who has just simply not chosen to participate today. The format is each person will have an opening statement to make, and that will be limited to 1 minute. Then we'll proceed to a questions and answer session on the public, and that will also be limited to 1 minute. I may occasionally throw in a funny question. That might be a different time frame, but I will let you know in advance. And then each candidate will have a closing statement of 1.5 minutes, and we hope to be done by 7:30. So thank you for being with us today, and we'll begin now by asking and introducing each of the candidates, and I'm going to call them in the order in which we have randomly selected them to be in to make their opening statements. We'll start with Mr. Stephen Eckstone. Mr. Eckstone, if you will turn on your audio, and thank you. And our other candidate, Lisana Dominguez. Ms. Dominguez, thank you for being with us. And then Mr. Diego Barragan, if you will join us now too. And then finally, Mr. Clay Hale, if you'll join us. Thank you, Candice, for being with us. It's lovely to see you. And the final person I do want to introduce is important to our process here, and that is our timekeeper, Michelle Fernandez. Michelle will be letting the candidates know how they're doing with the time. She will have some signs to show, and that will be giving the candidates a 30-second sign. She'll hold that up for a few minutes, and then she will do a 15 seconds sign, and then the ominous big sign you want to watch for, and that is the stop sign. So we request that you don't rush, but you then pretty much conclude your whatever sentence you're in the middle of doing at that point in time. If you continue, I will use my moderator's position to stop you. So hope you'll honor our rules. So once again, we've gone through the ground rules, and I will note that the questions we're going to be asking have come from you in the audience. They have been perhaps changed or rewritten to avoid duplication and making sure that nothing's inappropriate in any questions. And we'll be alternating the questions among the candidates. So it'll vary. So each candidate will have an opportunity sometimes to be the first to answer and sometimes to be the fourth to answer. So we'll start now with opening statements from each one of our candidates. And by the way, in preparation for today's session, I spent a little time for our audience who maybe is not as familiar. And I needed to remind ourselves that when we're talking about the Evergreen Community College district, we are talking about 2 different school systems, San Jose City College as well as Evergreen Valley. And we're dealing with the lives of some 26,000 students, as I understand. So it's important whom we select to be one of our trustees. And so that's why we're spending time today having you understand the candidates who are running for District 7. District 7 is quite a significant piece of property. It starts with sort of the east side. It goes all the way to the Alameda, down to Kirtner, down in the southern San Jose. I'm just on the other side of it, so I'm not in this district, but it's an important large district with important piece of our community. So we'll start with opening statements, and we'll start with you, Mr. Eckstone.
Thank you. I'm hoping everyone can hear me. I'm in an interesting position to be a candidate for the governing board. I taught at San Jose City before retiring for about 10 or 12 years. So I saw the quality of our students. I began to see the differences, the things that were happening in the district that required the board's attention. I saw the perception of community colleges begin to change. I saw the work environment begin to change. I saw the diversity of our students continue to change. And then I taught at San Jose State. So I had a number of my students who transferred over to San Jose State, and I had a chance to see them at both ends of their educational career. I'm very impressed with the board's work. I have been a consultant to 12 districts in the state, and I've worked closely with boards at all levels, primarily on marketing, enrollment, and community and fundraising. So this is an important opportunity for me to continue the work that I've been doing and to bring some value to the district. I conclude my comments.
Eckstone. Thank you. And now, Ms. Dominguez.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisana Dominguez, and I am running for trustee because I believe in the transformational power of education. As a first-generation Latina, a San Jose native, and the current Chief of Staff and Strategy Officer for the Silicon Valley Education Foundation, I have seen firsthand the disparities and the challenges that our students face when pursuing their educational goals. When I was in high school, I was told that I wasn't college material. And if it wasn't for my friends and family, I would not have gone to community college where it opened doors for me. But more importantly, it gave me the confidence to pursue my educational goals. And that led to UC Santa Cruz, where I majored in politics. As a trustee, I plan to support career pathway opportunities and college prep programs. But more importantly, I want to ensure that every student, when they're pursuing their educational goals, don't hear that it's not an option for them, but rather hear that they could choose community college as their choice for higher education. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Barragan.
Good evening. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to introduce myself today. As I shared before, my name is Diego Barragan. I'm a lifelong downtown resident, also a current resident of the Spartan Keys community with my wife and 2 children. I'm running for the open seat for San Jose Evergreen Community College District because I bring vast experience that can address the district's ability to ensure accountability, accessibility, and affordability to our community. Being the only candidate who went through and has children in our education system, I have firsthand experience and knowledge of the resources needed to ensure our district can be accessible to all our students. As a former college student, I understand the need to make sure we have community college system that seems affordable, that is affordable. I'm the only candidate with both business and government budgetary experience, and I'm the only person who can step in from day one to make budgetary decisions that are accountable to you, the voters. And that's why I humbly ask for your vote to be the next representative of our college district.
Thank you. Mr. Hale.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. So my story started senior year of high school. My family and I did not have the financial means for me to enroll in a UC, CSU, or private institution. So I enrolled in our local community college. I had fantastic history teachers in high school and tremendous history instructors in the community college level. I decided I wanted to be a teacher. I went on to transfer to UC Berkeley, where I was the first in my family to graduate from college. I fulfilled that dream of becoming a teacher and turned that into reality and became the government and civics teacher I am today. I am passionate about working with our students, as I am the only candidate that works with both San Jose Evergreen Community College students and Eastside Union High School District students every single day. This position affirms my belief in how powerful community colleges are, but I also see the challenges that our students face firsthand in the community college system.
Thank you. Well, I think we have 4 outstanding candidates who are running for this position. But And they've all given us some idea of why they're interested in becoming a trustee. And thank you, because that was really our first question. So you've already answered that. But now let's get into sort of the nitty gritty. There may be people in our audience and voters who don't really understand the responsibilities of the trustees and why and what you do, and how that will make a difference. So let's talk about that as you perceive it. What are the responsibilities of the trustee and how would that make a difference? Not only to District 7, but also if you talk about how you would act in terms of the entire district, right? Because while you're coming from District 7, you also represent the entire district. So how would you see that distinction? So we're going to start the opposite order. We'll start with Mr. Hale for that question. What in your perception of responsibilities of a trustee, how will you make a difference, and how will you act in terms of either District 7 and or the entire district?
Yeah, so being trustee, you need to be responsive to the needs of your staff, faculty, and students on a daily basis. I have the support of the Faculty Association of the Community Colleges, AFT, as well as Eastside Teachers Association. I work with students, teachers, and staff on a daily basis. And I proposed early on in this campaign that I don't want policymaking to be an echo chamber, but I want it to be a dialogue between our staff, faculty, and students. I will honor the shared governance model in our community college system by relying on our faculty senate, our student senate, and our classified senate in all decision-making process. I'll also have weekly coffee chats on Zoom or in an accessible format in which students, faculty, and staff can guide my decision-making process. So again, I believe the role of a trustee is to rely on our community members, also our students, faculty, and staff in all decision-making processes on the board.
Thank you. Same question, Ms. Dominguez.
Great question. Thank you, Gloria. So as the role of the trustee is to ensure fiduciary responsibility and oversight of the chancellor, that they are aligned with the mission and vision of the school district. And so as a trustee, I will make sure that we have the policies and the allocation of funds needed to provide quality education for our students. We also need to keep in mind that the school district has been lacking a chancellor for the last 3 years. And so it is a priority of mine to come into the seat with that goal in hand, that we provide this school district and its students and teachers and administrators with a chancellor that could lead this school district into a higher direction of quality education.
Thank you. Mr. Barragan.
Yes, no, the role of a trustee, again, is really to work with the chancellor in terms of executing the plan of the district. And from my experience from working with the city of San Jose, again, at the council level, again, they work closely with the city manager. The city manager, again, is the person who oversees the entire district, has staff at the administrative staff, as well as, again, you have the students. There's a student trustee who serves on there. But for me, I would want to be a representative, again, who works with all three, but also to, again, the voters, our community. We need to make sure, again, that we have communications with the districts that do fall within the boundaries of the community college district. San Jose Unified, you have Alum Rock, you have Eastside Union. Also, too, again, you have our charters as well as, again, our Catholic schools. And so for myself, again, I want to be an advocate who listens and be able to make budgetary decisions, again, that not only impacts the district itself, also to our community. I mean, every time we have to raise a tax, it impacts a household. Every time we have to make a change, cut a program, it may impact, again, our local school districts. And so for myself, again, I want to be out there in the community, listening to folks and making those budgetary decisions, as well as, again,
Thank you, Mr. Barragan. Mr. Eckstone, same question.
I think listening to my fellow candidates, I'm sure we all understand the important role that the college district plays in our community. So I've nothing I can add to that. The difference is I'm more of a problem solver. I want to be involved in the direction that the board and the colleges go in the future, because we're facing some enormous issues and problems in not just our district, but certainly in the state, perhaps our country. And the community college is the absolute best way to reach out and reach people of all ages, all denominations, and solve some of the problems that we're facing. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Actually, you've sort of gave me the entree for the next question, and the next question is, what are the challenges that that you feel are the major challenges facing the community college district in the next couple of years that you anticipate, and quite problems that you probably will have to work on. And we'll start with you, Mr. Barragan. What do you foresee are the major challenges for the Evergreen Community College School District?
Well, the immediate challenge is finding a chancellor. As mentioned, again, it's been 3 years since they've had a chancellor. It's been interim. The first thing, again, you need that leader, again, who's going to shape the vision of the district. So that would be the first priority. And then the other one, again, is just making sure that you have the resources in place to not only serve, again, this current body, student body, but also to the future student body. For California, again, they have a directive for the Community College District of California. They want to go ahead and do dual enrollment. So how do we work with our local schools, especially our school districts, to make sure that students are able to sign up and have the credentials or credits, again, to shorten their time at a 4-year university, or again at San Jose Evergreen, should they decide to pursue a AA, or again in the future a bachelor's degree. So again, I mean, those are the priorities, again, that I would focus on.
Thank you. Mr. Hale, the same question. What in your mind are the major challenges facing the community college district, especially in the next couple of years?
Number one, ensuring our funds are allocated to student success. So often our funds are allocated to administrative bureaucracy and not going directly to the needs of our students. We need to make sure that we're accounting for the needs of our students and teachers when any time a dollar is spent within our district. Two, we need to increase partnerships to better our students throughout San Jose Evergreen. Right now, San Jose Evergreen Community College District does not do a great job working with our Eastside Union High School District schools and the rest of our schools within the San Jose area. We need to make sure that our students are prepared for a college class and financial aid before they enroll in San Jose Evergreen Community College District. And lastly, we need to make sure that our students are aware about the resources we have at San Jose Evergreen Community College District, whether it's, trade or career, or whether it's the transfer pathway. Students need to be set up for success before they enroll in a first college class.
Thank you. Mr. Eckstone, your comments about the major challenges facing the district.
The biggest challenge that I can see is the change in the work environment. And it's not just changes that have taken place. Artificial intelligence is going to change almost everything we do. All of our jobs will somehow be changed. I'm not sure the community college is ready for that. I know that we all want our students to earn an associate's degree, despite the fact that in my research, hardly anyone advertises for someone with an associate's degree. We have got to be aware of the changes and help our students, including many who come back to college, to meet the challenges that we're going to be facing probably in the next 10 years.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mr.
me.
Dominguez. Yes, looking at my chart, who haven't I done? Mr. Dominguez, the same question regarding the challenges.
Yes, great question. So I see 4 things as a priority for the next trustee. The first one is part-time healthcare for our faculty and our teachers. We must ensure that our teachers are fully supported so that they provide quality education for our students. The second is affordable housing for our students and teachers. We know that it's a challenge to live in Silicon Valley. We need to make it a priority that we offer affordable housing so our teachers feel secure and are able to teach quality education. The third is the chancellor. Again, we need to ensure that we have a chancellor that has the diversity lens, that is able to understand our students' needs and understands our community. And lastly, student support services for our under-resourced areas. There's no reason why that our under-resourced areas should not be receiving resources from our community colleges so that we can build that pathway and ensure that every student has access to quality education.
Well, thank you. And now we're going to have another question about some of you alluded to this, and this is I'm going to give you a little bit more time if you need it. Michelle, two minutes if necessary. Okay. There are a lot of students who are left behind, particularly over the last 3 years due to COVID. Their study and reading skills have been declined as they were in high school. How best do you think community colleges should address this issue with students who are unprepared, really, and not having the reading and the math skills, perhaps, to either collaborate or partner with area high schools to ensure that students are better prepared to college with the end goal of graduating to a higher education institutions or to skilled trades. So it's really addressing how do you fix a problem that we've been faced with that was totally unexpected, and has resulted in dramatically lowered scores by high school students. So we're going to start actually with you, Ms. Dominguez, on this one. As I try to rotate and remember the rotational order. What do you see as things that can be done for those students who have been caught up because with online learning, maybe it didn't always happen. It didn't happen right away. They were caught up and you know, they're fallen so far behind. And I'm not sure how community colleges are addressing that. And so it's a combination of what do you do in advance of that and what do you do as they're coming into the system?
Great question, Gloria. I think so. It's a lot of it has to do with the current work that I do now, working at the Silicon Valley Education Foundation, a nonprofit that provides under-resourced communities with math and science courses. We know right now in our under-resourced areas, around 72% of our students of color are graduating without meeting or exceeding math standards. And we know that in order to see students achieve in community college and higher education and a career, they need math. And so my priority as a trustee is to ensure that the programs that we provide in our community are dual enrollment programs. That is an easy opportunity for high schools, for middle schools to start accessing services from a community college and start building up math and science for our students so that they could ensure and they feel confident to be able to move into a pathway that they could achieve and find a career that speaks to them.
Thank you. Mr. Rego, Barragan, this is a complex issue. What are your thoughts about how we help students who've been affected by the pandemic?
No, I'm glad you asked this question. I'm the only candidate again who probably has experienced it. As a father of two kids, one 11 and one is 14. Again, I've seen the impacts on both students. My older son, again, he excelled with online learning, but my younger one, again, he had a little bit harder time. He was in first grade when that started. So again, I mean, I understand again the difficulties and challenges. And so for me, what I could promise you is this: classroom courses will be an option, should be an option. Kids learn differently. So some children don't have the resources at home to help support them again in their academic learnings. And so again, you do need classroom options. There are other people again who may excel online. So again, we need to have a mix. And we always should ensure those again who struggle, especially in our inner cities such as downtown, again, that they have an option to go into a classroom setting to get the support you learn. I mean, when I went to San Jose State, it was a community school. And so one of the biggest challenges with San Jose State at the time was you had people just coming and going. Well, if you look at San Jose State now, again, it's a campus that people love to stay. People are growing, people are living, in and around campus. It has a school spirit. The same thing could be said at San Jose Community College, Evergreen Valley College. You got to have that, you got to have that atmosphere again where people could collaborate, people could work together, people could learn from. So again, you just need to make sure you have in classrooms courses, as well as again the resources on campus again to support that student should they need them. And that's my promise to the voters.
Thank you. Mr. Hale, your thoughts on how we handle kids who've been caught up by the pandemic?
Yeah. So I bring the current perspective of a current teacher and also somebody who taught during the pandemic on Zoom. So I know firsthand what our teachers and our students dealt with when we were going through Zoom shutdown and back into the classroom. I was there when district officials and administrators and people at the state level told teachers that we need to get back in the classroom when there was no vaccine. So I understand the challenges that we faced as teachers. I understand the challenges that our students face directly from Zoom. And I see right now the impact that it has on our students. There is a current mental health crisis for our students after the pandemic. We need to be making sure that there are mental health resources out on San Jose Evergreen for both San Jose City and Evergreen Valley College. We need to do staff professional development so our staff can identify mental health issues that our students are facing and refer them to on-campus and outside community partnerships. We need to increase funding for tutoring services and library hours to make sure our students have access to resources that are on campus for tutoring, and we need to partner with local high schools for dual enrollment opportunities. Right now, I work in a dual enrollment program with Eastside Union High School District, and I see firsthand how our Eastside schools and how our high schools don't have communication with San Jose Evergreen. We need clear communication and clear partnerships between San Jose Evergreen and our local schools. And I have the experience as somebody who works with both Eastside schools and other community organizations to build those partnerships between San Jose Evergreen and Eastside and other high schools throughout the South Bay.
Thank you. Mr. Eckstone, your thoughts on this question?
I'm impressed. And since I have an extra minute, I'll add some personal history. Both in my family, no one went to a two-year school, what Mr. Berrigan refers to as a junior college. We no longer use that expression, Mr. Berrigan. Both of my daughters were headed to a four-year school. Neither was qualified for the schools they wanted to go to. So I put them into, it happened to be West Valley College. One of my daughters is dyslexic. They had wonderful services available to her and to other students who had disabilities in learning. As a teacher at San Jose City and again at San Jose State, I was struck by how poorly qualified many of my students were. It's not the high schools. Some of them shouldn't have made it through sixth grade. So I'm glad there's an elementary school teacher here so I can say it directly to him. The work needs to be done way back then, not just in the high schools and not just in the remediation that we do at the community college, which is excellent, but it needs a full frontal attack. And as you said, you're aware that the statistics are showing that our students are not keeping up with their peers in other countries. That's a problem lower than high school. We have to get to the children before they get to high school so that when they get to us, they are better qualified and better able to compete and to learn.
Thank you. In addition to the problems or the difficulties that students have had coming to the system, teachers have been challenged tremendously. So I'd like you to talk about the problems that you believe instructors and teachers are facing in the community college school districts, and how would you address them if you perceive that there are some problems? Are there some issues? We'll start with you, Mr. Eckstone, on that question.
As Ms. Dominguez pointed out, funding is essential to support our faculty. I know many community college teachers who have to teach at 2, sometimes 3 colleges. They have to drive up and down, we call them freeway flyers, in order to put together a living wage. I was fortunate enough, I live across the street from San Jose State, so I was fortunate enough to have another job there so I could support myself on just one community college. I think that's an essential part of it. I'm not sure about the part-time health care. I think it's of value. I never had to deal with that because San Jose State gave us all health care right from the beginning. But I think supporting our teachers financially is a major effort that we have to undertake.
Thank you. Ms. Dominguez, your response to that question about the problems facing teachers.
Yes, that's another great question. So last month I had an opportunity to meet with a politics professor over at San Jose Community College, and I was able to hear firsthand what were the issues that he and his coworkers and staff were facing. And we know right away that it is affordable housing. He has to commute from East Bay to come and teach our students. And so if we had affordable housing at San Jose City and Evergreen Community College, we would be able to have more opportunity to foster relationships with our teachers and cultivate those relationships and provide professional development opportunities so that they are the best that they can be when teaching our students. I would say that the other one would be healthcare. Again, we need to ensure that our teachers have access to healthcare, have access to childcare, so that our families, that our teachers can be successful.
Thank you. Mr. Barragan, same question. What do you see are the challenges facing teachers?
I think the biggest elephant in the room is how to find them housing. When we talk about, again, they have to go outwards. Everyone from from our school districts, our unified school districts to community colleges, even again, I mean, our officers, you can name government workers in general are going outwards. And so again, we need to find housing for them. I think that's the first and probably biggest solution we could offer our faculty. And so for myself, again, I would work is make sure again that we are able to provide housing for our faculty. And then we could talk about the livable wage as well as the healthcare. In those things, again, I mean, we'll all fall in line as we go.
Thank you, Mr. Hale.
Yeah, so I bring the experience as a current teacher to the board, right? So I was endorsed by AFT, East Side Teachers Association, as well as the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges, which demonstrates my commitment to our teachers. As a current teacher, I've launched this campaign because I believe that so often that teachers' voices are not reflected in educational policymaking spaces. At the start of this campaign, I've been advocating for housing for our staff, faculty, and students. As a teacher, I cannot afford a down payment for a house in the Bay Area. We need a viable option for subsidized housing so teachers can save up for a down payment. Two, teachers want higher pay, right? We need a faculty living wage, and we need a path for our part-time faculty to become full-time if they so choose to. And lastly, we need to ensure that our part-time faculty are treated with respect and get the healthcare that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, actually, several of you have already mentioned it, including Mr. Hale right now and Mr. Inga. So this will be a 30-second question, because I think it's a yes, no kind of a question, and maybe a quick response in terms of why. We've all skirted around. I know this was an issue that was in the media quite a bit, and that is the fact that the state has a program to provide healthcare benefits to part-time faculty. And I know that there was some protests and teachers who were protesting because it is not yet offered at the Evergreen Community College system for their part-time staff. So very quickly, do you see San Jose Evergreen District embracing this program to provide part-time faculty with health benefits? And so it's sort of a yes, do you see it happening? Would you be supportive of that? Or what are the issues you might see around that? And we'll start with you, Mr. Mingus. You did mention it several times.
Yes, I did, and I'm happy to state it again. Yes, I would, and yes, to clarify, the current board is working diligently to ensure that they come to an agreement with the current faculty, and I believe that they are finding ways in which they could be supportive.
Thank you, Mr. Barragan.
Yes, and again, I think it goes back down to having the right chancellor in that position again, who would be able to negotiate.
Thank you, Mr. Hale.
Yes, I'd be supportive of part-time faculty healthcare, and teachers will always have their support from me on the board.
Okay, Mr. Exdown.
Yes, of course, I would support it if we can afford it. And I guess that's the argument that we're trying to work out now.
Very good. Well, thank you. I skipped the question earlier, but I want to get back to it. I've just lost everybody on the screen. Am I still on? Are we still going?
Yes.
Everything's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. My computer just did something really strange. You've all talked about, we've talked about problems that teachers are facing. We've talked about healthcare benefits, and people have referenced and referred to keeping affordable housing for teachers and stuff like that. What about, and for students, do you have any specific ideas or strategies for effect to keep college affordable and accessible for students? And because a lot of students cannot afford a four-year college, they have barely able to afford community college, but are there some tactics or effective strategies you might suggest or have in mind to make college affordable and accessible to students? And we'll start with Mr. Hale.
Yeah, so community college was that pathway for me, right? I couldn't afford to go to UC, CSU, or private institution, so I decided to enroll at our local community college. Many students don't know the financial aid pathways senior year of high school. So I teach seniors, and it's a California requirement now for high schools to know for our students to complete FAFSA before they graduate. We need our community colleges to be working with our high schools to offer financial aid workshops in multiple languages. Our students also don't know that if you enroll in Evergreen Valley College, more than 15 units, tuition and fees are covered, as well as $1,500 of course materials. They're not aware of that opportunity. So we need to be intentional with those partnerships that we're creating between San Jose Evergreen, our community, and our neighboring schools within San Jose.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Mr. Eckstone.
Well, if we have a solution for the cost of housing, we're going to make a fortune. There are businesses that can't afford to get people to come to work here. At San Jose State, they would bring faculty in from across the country. They'd bring in candidates for president from across the country. They'd take one look at the cost of housing and they would leave. They cannot afford to live here. At San Jose City, we had over 1,000 unhoused students. I had an athlete who had to live under the stands in the playing field because he couldn't afford a house. My wife wanted me to bring him home because he was a good guy. At San Jose State, we have 9,000 students and many faculty who are not housed. It's a major, major issue. It won't be solved at the community college level, but we can begin to talk about it here.
Thank you. Ms. Dominguez, that's big problems.
Yeah, so as someone who had to navigate the educational school system and wouldn't have been at community college if it wasn't for my friends and family, and I didn't know that it was affordable and accessible, it tells me that we need to go into our community and inform our students of the opportunities that they have. And so as a trustee, I plan to allocate resources to academic support programs, to career pathway opportunities, so that our students know that there's options, that they have the wraparound services that they need to transfer to a 4-year, to transfer to a trades job, that they have opportunities to be economically mobile and sustainable in Silicon Valley.
Thank you. Mr. Barragan, have you thoughts about any strategies for keeping college affordable and accessible to students?
I think the district already addressed it with their basic aid college district. They don't have to worry about enrollment like our neighboring college districts. So for them, again, they charge our property tax. That's where a bulk, again, in their operational budget comes from. And with it, again, they're able to offer programs such as the free tuition, textbooks, reimbursement, and other programs. So it's really, again, it's just understanding the budget, making sure you're making the right decisions, again, so you can continue to offer those programs. And then in regards to the affordable housing, again, I mean, that's a capital budget where you could ask for a bond. School districts across the Bay Area, again, are asking for that. And so, again, you have in Daly City, you have a project, you have an Allen Rock, again, they're also asking for a teacher. And I think we could do the same thing for faculty housing here in the area.
Thank you. We're an organization. League of Women Voters is not just women, but there are a lot of women in the League of Women Voters. So I'm always interested in the issues around women. And by the way, League of Women Voters is men and women. But we did have this question that we're fond of. What do you think is the biggest challenge women today are facing in terms of pursuing higher education? While there've been a lot of barriers that have been removed, there's still some barriers for women in pursuit of higher education. And I wondered if you would speak to that. And we'll start with you, Mr. Barragan, and then some thoughts you might have. I think you have daughters. You might be thinking about that, for example.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest challenges women have in terms of women and girls, I guess, young women in pursuing higher education that they currently face in pursuit of higher education? I'm going to broaden that because there are two groups that are often maligned or face glass ceilings, and they're also people of color. So your thoughts on that?
You know, when I was dating my wife, we've been married for over 22 years. And what I could say is this, is that, you know, she comes from a family of immigrants. For her, again, education wasn't seen as a priority. Right after college, she had to work. When we're dating again, I encouraged her to go to school. She actually went to Evergreen community college or within the community college district, got her AA in accounting. So for her, again, I mean, I saw again that there is that barrier again, that maybe again college wasn't a priority. And so again, what I would want to do again is work with our organizations that do work with women, work with our school districts, and make sure that the counselors again are not just talking to everyone. And so again, we make sure that they have the option of either pursuing an AA, a bachelor's degree, transferring over to get their bachelor's degree, or get a certification such as nursing, the trades, you name it again, so they could have a steady income again right out of graduating from San Jose Evergreen.
Yeah, that's true. There are sometimes just cultural barriers too. Mr. Hale, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so first of all, I've been an advocate for LGBTQI resource centers at both San Jose City and Evergreen Valley College, acknowledging the intersectionality between gender, sex, and race being reflected into affinity spaces for San Jose City, then Evergreen Valley College. I'm a proponent of childcare in San Jose Evergreen Community College District. I also know that there's not accessible lactation spaces in either San Jose City or Evergreen Valley College, making sure that those are accessible, and also directing funds for student-led programs to make sure that all students feel represented and heard within San Jose Evergreen Community College District. So student government programming and student clubs for student-led events.
Thank you. Mr. Eckstone.
Well, the governing board has a clear mandate to insist that we don't discriminate against anyone. So there's no way we can change or would want to change that. In my own experience, of course, with my daughters and in the classroom, pregnancy seemed to be a rather serious problem for the young women. And many would not make it through the semester and they would have to drop out to have a child. I saw that many times over the years. And then when older women came back to school, they were beat up. It took them a long time to become comfortable in an academic environment. I had a student who was an ex-convict, and we had a shooter on campus, and I panicked. I didn't know what to do. My experience would be just, let's all run out in the street. And she said, no. She got up, she closed the doors, she locked the door. She helped us through the crisis until the police came and knocked on the door and said everything's clear. So I have a wide range of expectations and experience dealing with.
Thank you. That sounds like it'd be worth pursuing at another time. Ms. Dominguez, your thoughts on this question? And we've had a number of different interesting responses.
Yeah, and for me, it's representation. Representation when we hire teachers, representation when we hire staff and administrators. I want to ensure that every student, when they walk into community college, they see someone that looks like them, that acts like them, that comes from the community that they're from. I remember when I was at community college, one of my favorite professors was a woman, and she created a space for me to feel confident and secure. But looking at her in front of the room showed me that I could also do and be someone like her. And so it's about ensuring that there's policies in place for diversity, equity, and inclusion, that we're monitoring the way that the administration is handling their hiring processes and procedures. And I plan to partner with different organizations, community-based organizations, so that women and our students of color have support services, have mentorship programs, have access to professional mentors that can lead them into a career or a college pathway that they're looking for.
Thank you. Next question. I'm going to toss this one in. Actually, it's one that we see happening across the state, more in the high school level, and that is the issue around ethnic studies, and also the area around what's called critical race theory. I don't know what the policy is at Evergreen Community College School District, but has that issue come up? And how do you feel about the controversy around critical race theory? And California has a policy to teach ethnic studies. So I'm curious to know what you all think about that, because it's so controversial. It's in the news an awful lot, and it's tearing some of the educational institutions apart, in particularly more in other states, but it's also happening here in California. We'll start with you, Mr. Mingus.
Yes, another great question. So it is definitely a priority to ensure that the administration is having oversight on the way the content and curriculum is being implemented at school sites. We have seen it through K through 12 and in our community college and our universities that ethnic studies is vital to ensure that everyone is represented in our histories. We need to continue to move forward so that we learn from our histories, that we learn from our community, and we start building a diversity and a diverse framework around how our students are learning so that they're successful.
Thank you. Mr. Aragon, on this question about the teaching of ethnic studies and critical race theory.
I actually have a son who's in the course right now. He's a freshman. And so what I can tell you again is the course, I think, has opened his eyes. It's been very informative. Unfortunately, again, you only get you get the course for a year. And so again, I don't think, every culture, everyone will be represented, but they do try. And but I can tell you from firsthand experience, again, my son has enjoyed the course, and it's something, again, that has educated him and to be well-rounded and open, again, with other cultures out there.
Thank you, Mr. Hale.
Yeah, so many of my students take ethnic studies at Evergreen Valley College, and for some of them, it's one of their favorite classes that they take. I'm also a high school teacher. I'm a social science teacher. I'm the chair of our social science department, and soon high schools are going to have the graduation requirement by 2030 to have to offer for students to have to take ethnic studies, and at least offered by 2025 for the student population to take an ethnic studies class. So I see San Jose Evergreen Community College in a unique position to leverage their ethnic studies professors and class offerings for dual enrollment opportunities for our neighboring high schools, as well as professional development opportunities for our high school teachers throughout San Jose to gain the skills and knowledge to teach ethnic studies for this graduation requirement.
Mr. Eckstone, your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm aware of the controversy surrounding this question. The department I taught in at San Jose City included all the ethnic studies teachers, and we would sit together in forums, and I was very impressed with their professionalism and what they did. So I support it. I have some questions about some of the ethnic studies classes in the four-year schools that seem to be made up to fill a blank on some sheet somewhere. So I'm coming down on the side of, as Mr. Berrigan said, they're finding it to be fun. So college should be fun for our students.
Thank you. The next question is one about how you might be able to work with other members of the board, and how do you see yourself in terms of working on the board. So the question is, how would you collaborate with your fellow trustees to identify and increase funding to attract full-time educators? How would you provide excellence in higher education, and begin to offer counseling services and other emergency aid? Is how would you? It's really about that relationship and your dynamics of working on with the other trustees. And so I'll start with you, Mr. Eckstone.
Well, as a consultant to a number of colleges, I worked closely with the boards of all the schools, and the key was to achieve success. They had to achieve it in various little ways. Enrollment. Most colleges that would hire my company were having enrollment declines. So we worked with the board to come up with policies and procedures that would work. Just sitting here with my four colleagues tells me how important it is that we speak with one voice wherever we wind up on this journey.
Thank you. Ms. Dominguez.
So I'm proud to share that I have already the endorsements of 4 out of the 6 board members that sit at the San Jose Evergreen Community College trustees. And I do this on an everyday. I plan and work and coordinate and support other nonprofit organizations and collaborate to ensure that our community has the services and programs that they need, so that they could ensure that their students go to college or to a career. And so I believe that partnership collaboration is essential to ensure that what the district's goals are is something that is prioritized for the next year. As we mentioned earlier, finding a chancellor is the #1 thing that we need to do. And so it's vital that the board is aligned with the district's mission and vision to do this. And as you mentioned, support services like counseling, support services like mental health are a priority. And I believe that I have the skills needed to be able to best collaborate with board members to ensure that we provide the services that our students need to be successful.
Thank you. Mr. Barragan.
Yeah, I do share one of the endorsements that Lizanna does have with a board member, but I'll just say this is that I look at our San Jose mayor. You look at again, he came, didn't really have a lot of endorsement or support from his colleagues, but yet they're able to make this city run. They just negotiated a contract with their unions. He's also being He's being aggressive about addressing the affordable housing issues. In the end of the day, again, we're going to do what's best for the district. We're going to come together. We're going to go ahead and align on most of the votes. There may be a few votes where there may be some differences, but overall, again, I mean, whoever elects to see whether, again, they have a list full of endorsements or not, again, they're going to work together to make sure, again, they put students first.
Thank you. And Mr. Hale, same question.
The role of a trustee is ultimately to serve the needs of our students and teachers. So making sure and reminding our board colleagues that any decision that they make, the outcome needs to benefit our students and teachers. But we also need to be making sure that we are honoring the unique governing model of California community colleges, which is that shared governance model where you have an academic senate, a student senate, and a classified senate. So not just making decrees from the board, but also honoring the shared governance model of California community colleges, and working with our staff, faculty, and students in any decision-making process as well.
Thank you. The final question that I have is one around what's been happening across the country, and that is violence on campuses. And we've seen it happen again and again and again, and California is not spared from that. So with violence seeming to be on the increase on campuses, what safety measures do you believe would promote a more secure learning environment, and speak specifically to obviously the Evergreen Community College system? And we'll start with you, Mr. Mingus.
Yes, thank you, Gloria. So first and foremost, it's vital that our students have a safe space for them to be able to grow and learn and just feel like they're in part of a community. So as a trustee, I want to ensure that there's policies in place, that we are able to diversify the police presence, that we're able to have de-escalation and non-lethal training for our students. We want to make sure that when we see violence on campus, that students feel safe from every aspect that they go in. Another priority of mine, and we shared this a little bit earlier today, mental health services is vital. We want to ensure that we're preventing any hate crime. We're preventing any issues for our students way before it happens. Partnering with different CBO partners so that we can bring services so that our students feel safe and secure, but also offering these students if there is something that happens in the future. We can't ignore our students and our teachers. They should be our #1 priority.
Thank you. Mr. Barragan.
Yeah, so I'm probably the only candidate again who's experienced it. My son went to Hoover Middle School. They had a gun on campus in his PE class. They've had situations with teachers being arrested for sexual conduct. Also, too, again, there's been the adjacent high school again had a gun incident as well. I mean, these are terrifying situations. You don't want to get texts, you don't want to get an email stating your son has encountered this kind of experience. And so for me, it is personal. And what I'll say is this: is just making sure as a trustee that we, be proactive and address it, but also to assure the voters that we are working to make change. When an incident like that does happen, I mean, we have to be vocal. We shouldn't stay silent. And so for myself, again, I use these experiences and I'll be the decision maker to be proactive and communicate with residents, assuring again that, families that have children or students at our campuses, that they do get addressed and they feel that the campus is safe again.
Thank you. Mr. Hale.
As a current teacher, our district has experienced some events throughout the school year. So I acknowledge how campus safety can be an issue. We need to make sure our students, staff, and faculty feel safe in order for them to have an effective learning environment. We do that in San Jose Evergreen, we have a police presence, so we need to be making sure that we're working with the police to see where the areas of growth are. We need to be making sure that we're providing mental health resources on campus and also offering training for our staff and faculty to address mental health needs. And it's also important that we have clear communication between any on-campus events with our faculty, staff, and students. So if there's an event occurring on campus, that there's clear outreach to our staff and faculty and students of what's going on, and also post-incident. So our faculty, staff, and students can provide input of what we can do better moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Eckstone.
I'll go back to the story of the female ex-convict. When I had no idea what to do, as a matter of fact, I was holding a fire extinguisher in my hand to use as a weapon. I think what's missing is training. Now, perhaps the full-time faculty are trained in what to do in these instances, but part-timers were left out in the cold. I had no idea what I was supposed to do. I think in addition to having an effective police force, we've got to teach our faculty what to expect and what we expect of them.
Thank you. I'm sorry, there is one more question I didn't get to, and I think we still have time, if I'm not mistaken, to do this last question before we begin our closing statements. And that is the concerns about the transfer and graduation rate, community college students transferring and then graduation rate. So what are the areas of opportunity to improve community college transfers and graduation rates? And we'll start with you, Mr. Hale.
Yeah, so I'm somebody who actually transferred and graduated within the past decade. I also help our students navigate the transfer and graduation process on a daily basis as a community college advisor. I help our students navigate what EGETSI is, which is the general education requirement to go on to CSU or UC, or knowing what the major requirements are through assist.org, so they know what classes they need to fulfill for their major requirement. Many of our students do not know what our general education or major requirements are that they need to transfer to CSU or UC. We need to be intentional with our outreach to our local high schools so our students know what classes that they need to take to transfer to transfer or graduate on time, even before they enroll in their first college class at San Jose Evergreen.
Thank you. Mr. Eckstone, same question. What are the areas of opportunity to improve community college transfers and graduation rates?
First of all, transfer rates, graduation rates with a degree are important boxes that the board needs to keep their eye on. However, less than 2% of our students ever transfer or ever achieve a 2-year degree. And when I bring that up, students will point out that that's not why they went back to school. That's not why they're there. They have a goal to achieve some skill or to learn something that they need for a job or get an accreditation. We may need to work 2 tracks here, what they call stop outs and those who want to transfer. And I think there's some excellent programs that the 4-year schools have now to articulate with the community colleges. I've been participating in that at San Jose State, so I know it exists across the state.
Thank you. Mr. Mingus, your thoughts about areas of opportunity to improve community college transfers and graduation rates?
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of my priorities. I want to ensure that we allocate sufficient funds to academic support services like programs like Puente, Metas, LEAP. These are all services that support our under-resourced students, that support our students of color. We want to ensure that our students feel the wraparound services that they need. If they want to go to a 4-year, if they want to transfer, they're going to get access to that support on campus. We also need to communicate to our students that if they don't want to support or if they don't want to transfer, they also have options like trade jobs. They could go into career opportunities. There's apprenticeship programs. If they want to be an electrician, if they want to be a plumber, if they want to be an entrepreneur, if they want to open their business, there's options for them. And if transferring to another 4-year isn't something that they're pursuing, we're not going to just shut the door on them. We want them to know that community college is a space for them to explore other opportunities.
Thank you. Mr. Barragan, you're the final say on this.
Thank you. Now, I think it goes back to, again, having the right personnel. And what I mean by that is that experience matters. Having, faculty, counselors, again, that are there, not just for just starting off their career, but again, are also able to end it at the district, San Jose Unified, where my kids attend, we were seeing teachers leave, like half the teachers were leaving every year. And the unfortunate part, again, they have to live. And so again, they're going to go wherever their career will take them. And I think the same thing was faculty at our community college district. And so again, it's important that we keep in mind that experience does matter. And we need the folks especially in our counselor position, that are able to guide our kids to transfer to the right college, but also to, again, the certification program, lead them to a place, again, where they're able to get a job right after achieving that accomplishment. So again, I want to make sure that we have experienced personnel that, are there for the long run.
Well, thank you. That ends the questions and answer session. And I want to say I'm very impressed with all 4 candidates, and very different points of views, but also very commonalities as well. And it's clearly the desire you all have to make the Evergreen Community College a better place, and your commitment and passion it's all very clear. So we now have an opportunity for each of you to make your closing statements. You have 1.5 minutes to do that. We're going to go in the reverse order that we did in terms of the opening statement, which means that we will open with you, Mr. Hale, then Mr. Barragan, then Mr. Mingus, and then Mr. Ekstrom. So let us start now with Mr. Hale, closing statement.
Yeah, thank you all for your time and for this opportunity. I'm the only candidate who works as a teacher and works directly with San Jose Evergreen Community College district students and high school seniors every single day. I'm reminded about the success of our community college system, but also about the challenges our students face, whether that's canceled classes or underfunded mental health resources. Our teachers and students lack affordable housing. I'm going to advocate as a current teacher on the board, and I'm going to do this by ensuring that we build community partnerships for our students, we ensure funds are allocated to student success, and we increase transfer and graduation rates for our community college students. Teachers, students, and staff will have my unwavering support during my tenure on the board, because I'm a current teacher and I will never forget our teachers and students once I take this position.
Thank you. Mr. Barragan, your closing statement, please.
Yes, I hope you enjoyed the debate today, and I could have your support. What I promise you is this: I'm the only parent in the race, and my stake in this, again, is my kids. If the college district is not good enough for them, again, why would it be good enough for your child? So I want to make sure that our district is properly funded, to say affordable, accessible, but also to, again, I'm accountable to you as a voter. And so with that, again, I could promise you this: I'm not going to take out of state PAC money. I'm not the person, again, who's going to get the long list of endorsements and be called on for favors. I'm going to be the person, again, who's going to prioritize you, the voter, who's going to be able to make sure that, our college district is the best, and our kids don't go off to the neighboring districts such as De Anza, West Valley, Mission, or Foothill. And so again, I want to make sure that they are able to stay close. I think we deserve it, especially being from downtown, being part of San Jose Unified, and we need to build that relationship to make sure the inner city kids get the proper education they deserve at the college level.
Thank you. Mr. Mingo. Yes.
So first and foremost, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for the opportunity to be here, and also just thanking everybody who joined us this evening. I hope that in the last hour, you've been able to see that I'm the candidate that is committed to education, but more importantly, I am committed to students, teachers, parents, and our community. I want to ensure that our community gets what they need to be successful, and that's community college. And it's the quality of education that our community college offers. And I believe that both my personal and professional experience makes me the best candidate in this race. I have personally seen the challenges that our students face. I have navigated them myself, but more importantly, in my professional experience, I've been able to advocate for educational equity for our community to have access. And I also am very honored to have the sole endorsement of the Democratic Club, Don, and the sole endorsement of Dean Democratic Club as well. and South Bay labor. And lastly, I am running because I want every student in our community, when considering their educational aspiration and goals, to choose San Jose Evergreen as their #1 choice for higher education. So I hope everyone here remembers to vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Eckstone, your closing statement, please.
I would be pleased to endorse any of the other candidates on the table, on the dais. I'm very impressed myself. I want to be sure no one is seeking this position so that they can use it to move on to a further political career. That seems to happen with this chair, with this seat. It's happened many times in the past. I echo everyone's comments about the importance of the board, the importance of the board's relationship to the community, to the faculty, to all the other organizations on the campus. I was offered endorsements by many of the organizations that you have listed. I turned them all down because I don't want to have any strings on my candidacy. So I'm here hanging out by myself. Thank you all.
Well, thank you all. I want to share our thanks from the League of Women Voters for each of you for putting your name into the hat and taking on elective office. And it's very clear, I believe, from all the statements you've made, how committed you all are. As Mr. Eckstone said, he would vote for any one of the, and I would too. So we hope that you've given our audience an opportunity to see some of the distinctions and have a chance to weigh in, and also to think very seriously about who they would like to have serve as their trustee, and also be perhaps thinking about some of the issues that each member here, each candidate here brought up, and the tactics and the strategies that they might bring. But also, I'm always reminded that democracy requires engagement and civic participation. So thank you very much. I would invite our candidates to stop their video and their audio as we turn now to Sandy Mori, who is our who's our Director for Voter Services. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll turn it over to Sandy now for closing remarks.
Thank you, Gloria. It was an interesting forum. Thank you all for sharing. On behalf of the LWVSJSC, I want to thank the candidates for running for this office and for their participation this evening. I want to thank the audience for tuning in to meet the candidates and proposing such thoughtful questions. Members of the League of Women Voters do the hands-on work to safeguard democracy. While we never endorse a candidate, we are directly involved in shaping important issues to keep our community strong. If you would like to be involved with the men and women helping make democracy work, it is easy to join the League. We encourage you to visit our website at lwvsjsc.org. For those of you who have moved or changed your name or wish to change your party affiliation since you last registered, you need to re-register, and the last day to do that is October 23rd. Online voter registration is available at the Secretary of State's website, which is sos.ca.gov. Remember to vote by mail or at the polls by November 7th. Early voting at voting centers is from October 28th to November 26th. And most of all, remember to vote. Encourage your family, friends, and neighbors to vote. Democracy is not a spectator sport. Thank you again for joining us this evening, and we bid you a good night.